friends, my name is Kat and welcome to my channel and to this week's reading vlog. So I really didn't want spooky season to pass me by without, participating in one kind of spooky readathon, kind of doing something fun for the season. And I really wanted to participate in Vampathon this year. If you don't know Vampathon, it's hosted by Jody, aka Vanilla Moon, and it's just like a really kind of spooky, fun, fall-inspired readathon. So life has been a little insane lately and I didn't get to start this late when I wanted to. It initially started on October 26th. Today, I believe, is the 30th. And, even though we are coming very late, we're probably only going to be doing this for 2 or 3 days. Let's do it. Let's have some fun. Technically, it ends tomorrow, but I'm probably going to push it one more day and end on November 1st, just so that I can really have more of a chance to read some spooky fun books. So just a little bit about this readathon. There's quite a few different reading prompts. A lot of them are kind of like vampire or magic related. Obviously, Vampire's Vampathon makes full sense. And I'm going to try to make as much of my books kind of vampire-y, spooky, just really this kind of fall themed type of books as possible. I probably am not going to, I'm 100% not going to complete all of the reading prompts. There's like absolutely no way. But I do think that I should be able to hit a few of them at least, maybe 5. That might be my goal, is to hit 5. But I'm just really excited that I'm going to be able to actually spend a bit of time trying to do this. So welcome to the vlog. I'm going to kind of like take a little bit of time now, decide on what prompts I'm going to try to hit and what books I want to read, what books actually I can access as well, because if I'm going through library books, it might be a little bit more difficult and just really dependent on what's available at the moment. So I'm going to go figure that out now, and welcome to the video. So we're just going to be spending the next 2-3 days together as bring you along in my life, and we try to read as much as possible. So if you haven't already, I would love if you would subscribe, and let's dive into the video. So I've officially paid everything that we need to for the wedding next week. So I went to City Hall, paid the officiant, and we're ready. 8 days out now. Also, so I was making some bread and decided to I have my herb garden and I never actually use it for anything. So I've been trying to really add it into things lately. And today added a bunch of fresh parsley to our bread, which I'm really excited and really can't wait to see how that turns out. So very quickly, I'm just gonna talk over a super quick TBR for this week. And this is I tried to pick probably about half the prompts and pick books that would fit for them. Realistically, I am nowhere gonna get on any of these. There's a few that I've already kind of started. There's 2 that are super short. So those are ones that we might actually make some progress in. But realistically, if I'm only filming for the next 3 days, there's no way in hell that I'm gonna finish all of these. But I like to set lofty goals. I like to, have a plan just in case I do go a little crazy and actually accomplish it. So let's quickly talk. I think there's 12 or 16 prompts, and I have 9 of them I've picked out books for. As I'm probably going to find some of these books fit multiple prompts. So maybe I'll feel better about hitting off more of them that way. But first off, so for a paranormal romance, I want to read Into the Woods by Ivy Asher. So I started this one a few weeks weeks ago, and I'm only about 5% in, but it was just enough to like really captivate my interest. We have this young woman who's on a road trip, stumbles across a small town, and everybody thinks that, you can tell very quickly, they think that she's a werewolf because apparently this small town has there's like a supernatural gathering happening. She has no clue what's happening. Us as a reader, we can tell. And she's just a normal person who's kind of swept up into it. For a gothic setting, Nightshade by Carrie Lake. I've heard a lot of recommendations for this. I'm pretty sure it's gothic, just based very quickly on the description I was reading. Feels like it would fit that. For a gothic or spooky cover. So again, Nightshade would 100% work for this. But one that I really, really want to read soon is The Wraith King by Juliet Cross. And I haven't heard much about this, but it's again like a paranormal romance. Another one that could work for that is Phantasma, which I've started reading. I'm enjoying quite a bit. And I didn't write that down on any of these, but I think that would definitely be one that I'd like to try and find a way to finish off the next few days and fit into one of the prompts. Yeah, I think that's one that I'd like to try and finish too, because I'm enjoying it. The hype is crazy right now, so it could be a great one to read. Book to sink your teeth into. Literally couldn't be anything for this one, so I think that's gonna be one that I'm just at the moment can be whatever I'm feeling. This could be Phantasma. One that I kind of thought of is maybe Lady Macbeth by Ava Reid. Another one I am super, super excited for. Really, really want to get to, so this could be the great opportunity for it. A spooky middle grade. I don't read middle grade, but I did find a book called The Clackety, and it's only 200 pages. Plus, because it's middle grade, I can guarantee that it will be the quickest read ever. So if I'm feeling towards the end of this, I haven't read much and I just want to have another thing completed just for myself, maybe I'll read that. A spooky graphic novel. I'm actually really excited for this one. It's called Through the Woods by Emily Carroll, and it's just a bunch of spooky kind of little fairy tales, but it said it's a collection of 7 spooky stories. I've definitely read other stuff that she's drawn and other graphic novels that she's done and really, really enjoyed them. I can't think at the moment of what exactly it was, but I know I've read stuff from her before and really, really liked it. So this is another one that will be a super quick one to check off my list and say I've read something. Blood Uses Magic. So this one, I'm actually so happy that I found something that would work for it, and that is Mistress of Lies. This is a new fantasy vampire novel that is definitely getting a lot of hype right now. Maybe not necessarily he doesn't like that. Maybe not the best hype, but a lot of people are talking about it. A lot of are reading it, and in it, so I don't know if it explicitly says vampires, but there's people who are blood workers, and it sounds like they use blood as magic, and it's something to do with that. So this definitely, I think, would fit. And the final potential option. So for a dark academia setting, I'm gonna say this so wrong, Nocticadia by Carrie Lake. Another kind of gothic looking one, kind of paranormal looking, and one that I have had so many people recommend to me. So it's definitely something that I really want to get into soon. I also forgot to mention a book with witches. For that one, I've already started A Sorceress Comes to Call by T. Kingfisher, and I'm 100% going to use this. I'm going to keep going. I really, really want to finish this one because I'm loving it so far, and I love T. Kingfisher. So those very quickly were a bunch of options that we might try to get to this week. We might jump in between books. I don't know what I'm going to get to, but we're definitely going to try to read as much as possible, and I'm super excited. I've been reading like an absolute madwoman this afternoon. So let's talk about the progress I made in a few books today, and also a few that I'd already started before this week, or that I'd already started before this vlog. So I am very, very shortly into A Sorceress Comes to Call by T. Kingfisher. Really enjoying this, and she's also one of my favorite authors. So I'm 36 pages in out of about 320, so 10-ish% in. But we're following a young girl in this one whose mother is a sorceress, and she has come to realize that she's a sorceress, and that the way she's been raised in this incredibly controlling environment is not exactly normal. So they had been living in this small town, and their benefactor, who is basically a man that her mother was scamming has given up on them. So they are now going to another town where her mother has kind of like enchanted this man, not really, but like seduced him. So she's trying to get in with him. And you can see that's kind of where it's going, is that they're going to be trying to, or the mother's going to be trying to like take over this man's life. I'm enjoying it. I have a very, very good feeling just because like I love T. Kingfisher. I am such a big fan. Then I have so many other random books that I've been like just making progress on. So Through the Woods by Emily Carroll, which is the graphic novel that I'm reading. I read the first 2 stories in this one and they're kind of creepy. They're actually creepy as shit. So these ones, they are kind of like twisted fairy tales, and that they kind of have some remnants that like I'm recognizing slightly from fairy tales vibe, just very eerie and weird and off, and just something that's very off-putting. And her animation style is really creepy as well. Like the drawings are very creepy. So it is just lending to like very short, creepy stories that are very, very enjoyable. So I'm loving this one. I think I'm gonna kind of get through this one slowly, because each of the stories is like just enough that you kind of want to sit afterwards and be like, well, that is kind of terrifying. Then I'm 61% into Mistress of Lies. I've read the majority of that today, and this is a bad sign. I'm 61% in, and I genuinely don't think I can like say anything about this. We're following 2 main characters. So this is the one that has like blood magic and slight vampire things. So we're following one person who was previously thought to be like an unmagic person who's called Unblooded, which basically like is thought to be somebody who couldn't work this blood magic. But he's discovered to be the long lost heir to, I guess, the king, like one of the king's sons who's died. He is discovered to be his son. And we're following him as he's kind of like making that journey from like really a commoner to one of the most elite people, and learning this special type of magic that he has that's very, very different. And then we're following another woman who she's kind of like weaving this scheme. She's the one who found this guy and brought him to light, but it seems like she's also working all of these schemes in the background and kind of trying to maneuver a bunch of things going on. Also, if you hear that, that's just my bread maker. Also earlier I forgot to turn it on, so it was just sitting there for like 2 hours before I realized there was no bread going. But Mistress of Lies, that is like all I can really say about it, is that there's these 2 people, one's a long lost heir, one's scheming, and there's a bunch of murders going on. I have 0 feelings about it, aside from I'm just not really enjoying it. I'm gonna finish it. I might as well, and I only have 1 day left on the due date for that one. I'm gonna finish it. I'm just like not feeling anything. It's not that great. I'm not engaged. I think when I started it, it was kind of like when I was going through a bunch of stuff earlier this week, which I talked about in another video, but my dog almost died. And that's kind of when I was reading it while we were in the waiting room before we knew what was going on. And yeah, I did not absorb enough of it. So that the enjoyment factor could be entirely my fault. It could be 100% the fact that I was not in a good headspace when I started reading it. But at the same time, I'm just not engaged. I'm not interested. I am not really like catching on to what's going on. And now there's 2 other books on Kindle Unlimited. So I briefly talked about Into the Woods earlier. I'm now 18% in. So in this one, we're following a woman who gets into this small town and gets kind of like drawn into this werewolf hunt, basically. And she has no idea what's going on, but she's in this small town, things are weird, and she wakes up in the woods naked, and all of a sudden there's all these wolves fighting around her. Then she wakes up the next morning and all of these guys are telling her that she is their mate. She has been brought in as their mate, and you know, that she is one of them. She has no clue what's going on. So right now she's panicked. She's convinced that they assaulted and kidnapped her, and trying to figure out what happened. Enjoying it quite a bit. Really, really enjoying this one. And also I'm 34% into Phantasma. Enjoying this so much as well. This one, it's I think Victorian era kind of, and I might be wrong, but I think New Orleans. But we're following a woman who inherits her family's magical power, which is essentially giving her this ability to like, I think, talk to ghosts. I think that's kind of what her power is. But she enters this game called Phantasma, and it takes place, it's like this really well-known kind of event where people go in and somebody comes out victorious and comes out, I think, with either like a huge prize money or just like all their issues done. But it's interesting because it's a game and there's all these different levels, and each one corresponds to like a different level of hell. So there's the first one was like purgatory, and now we're into the next level, which is lust. So there's all these different competitions that are corresponding to every bit of it. It's really, really interesting. And our main character as well, she's working with I guess, I don't know if I'd say phantom ghoul. I can't remember what they call him, but he's some kind of ghost. And he has made a deal with her basically that if she helps him find this item that he's lost, these memories that he's lost, he'll aid her in the competition. So I'm really enjoying that one. that one, it's nothing too complex so far, but it is very fun. So that's a little bit of what I have been reading. Making a lot of really good progress on these, and just a lot of like bouncing between books, which is kind of where I'm at mentally right now. I do best when I am switching between a bunch of books, so it might be a little chaotic that way. Really enjoying it. I'm gonna keep going on it on a lot of these. Yeah, but overall, just honestly having a great time. Hello. Hi, Hank. So happy Halloween. I decided to dress up a little bit. Like, honestly, I have so many Halloween themed things that like not difficult at all. And it's basically all I've been wearing for like the last few weeks. So we are now 4 p.m. I just finished up work for the day, and I do have a few updates to talk about, like things that I finished last night. So I finished reading Mistress of Lies, which honestly, like very similarly to what I was saying yesterday, I don't think I can say like anything cohesive, anything interesting about this book. Like, I don't think a single thing actually stuck in my head. I don't think I can like really talk about the plot or the characters or anything. Like, none of it was sticking with me, which not a great sign. Like, the fact that I came out of it, I read this whole book and I literally like, I don't know, can barely tell you what actually happened aside from there's a vague plot about a missing heir to the king. Yeah, it wasn't great. Didn't really enjoy it. I'm giving it 2 stars. It just, I don't know, like I couldn't get into the writing. I couldn't get my mind wrapped around it, and just none of it like was captivating me in any sense. So we're gonna go 2 stars. Didn't enjoy it, but that one's gonna count towards the Blood Useless Magic Prone. And then I also finished the graphic novel I was reading, which is Through the Woods by Emily Carroll. Loved this. Like 4 stars for me. Really, really good. It was just so delectably like creepy. Like every one of the stories, there are 7 in it. Every one of them was just so creepy, so unhinged, and just unsettling. And especially the last story in this, it was like the last one was the longest, and it was by far the creepiest, and just left on like a really gross, weird note that just felt, again, very unsettling, very weird, very not okay. And I loved it. It was so good. So that one, my spooky graphic novel, that one's chalked off too. And I'm so happy I read that one. Like, it was really fantastic. Really would recommend if you're into like kind of creepy stories. So for the rest of the night, it's 4 now. I'm expecting trick-or-treaters to start coming around like 5:30. We live in like an area that actually has quite a few people come, a lot of younger kids, and last year was insanely busy. So I'm kind of anticipating that's going to be the same type of thing tonight. And Simon has a few meetings, so I'll probably be the one who's primarily at the door dealing with it, which is fine. Like, I get so into it. I love seeing these little kids dressed up in costumes. I get so excited, and I find it so fun. So completely fine with that. But in between, I'm going to try to read a little bit. There's like last year, I remember it was like I could read for like a minute between like people, and then I had to jump up and go to the door again. So there's a good chance not a lot will happen tonight, but I'm gonna keep going. And I think maybe if I'm reading one of my like less brain power books, like I'm thinking, so I made it to over 50% of Phantasma, which I forgot to mention, but I'm over 50% into that. Really enjoying it. And I think that will probably be the book I focus on tonight, because it is very enjoyable, but also one that does not need a lot of brain power. Like, it is just a fun ride. We're just going through, following our main character Ophelia as she goes through all of these competitions, well, more like trials, these little trials based on the 9 circles of hell and all of the different deadly sins. It's fun. It is not requiring a lot of brain power, and I am thoroughly enjoying it. So I do think that I am going to probably primarily focus on that. I have also been, I wanted to mention, I've been rereading The Way of Kings. So we are 1 month out now, just over 1 month out from the 5th Stormlight Archives book. So I've been trying to reread it. It started way later than I wanted to. Originally, I was anticipating reading one a month. Now we're gonna be 1 a week. But I've been alternating between the audio and physical version of this. My audio copy is due back tomorrow, so probably will be switching to physical after that. But this is another one that I might probably be reading here and there. Really, like, I love it. This is one of my all-time favorite series. I'm just so happy to be here reading along with it. So those are the plans for tonight. Probably gonna have dinner now, and then, yeah, excited to have some trick-or-treaters soon. Hey friends, so we are now November 2nd. Technically, this video, this readathon, was supposed to end October 31st. Originally, I was going to do it, like extend for one day, but honestly, yesterday, Friday, November 1st, was insanity for me. It was so busy at work, and then by the time the day was done, I was just not feeling it. And there was like no way I was able to focus on a book. And honestly, I don't feel like extending this into today. So we're just going to wrap up the vlog here. And I'm going to tell you guys a bit about what I read on the 31st, so on Halloween, which honestly, it was a fantastic reading night. We had a lot less kids come trick-or-treating than we usually do. And it was like great time to just read in between. I was reading so much, and I also was reading like very fast-paced books. So they took zero time at all to get through. So I finished 2 more books, which I am so happy to talk about. First of all, so Phantasma. I was reading that. I was like 50-ish% into it, I think, when we last chatted. And yeah, I'm done now. And I honestly think this was so fun. I understand the hype that it's been getting, but I do have to say, I think it's definitely overhyped. I think that like it is a very fun fantasy romance, but it is not like, I don't know if it deserves quite the hype that it's been getting, because it wasn't really anything that was like spectacular or that exciting. It was just fun. And this is very much my comparison of this is the world of Kingdom of the Wicked. So if you read it, you know that the time period that one was set in was very, very vague. So it was like, it had, you could tell it wasn't quite modern times, but it really could have been anything else. There was like the vague mentions here and there to like the types of outfits they're wearing or like society. And it kind of like, you would kind of think maybe a couple hundred years in the past, who knows? And I feel like Phantasma was so much like that as well, because honestly, could have been a modern day, except for the fact that there was like no technology, and there was like 1 or 2 mentions about a corset that our main character was reading. Otherwise, could have been any time period, who knows? And the part about also Kingdom of the Wicked is that in that one, there were all the princes of hells, there was the different realms. This one very similar because it was a competition and you're going through the different realms of hell. And each realm, like each demon, it corresponded to kind of like one of the like 7 deadly sins. Though I think there was 9 levels, 7 levels. I don't remember. But it was very competition based. And we're also, I'm going to say, incredibly like Caraval, because we are following the main character whose entire reason that they entered this is to try and find her sister, similar to Caraval. That one was over a few days, and it was like every chapter was like whatever day of Caraval, and same of Phantasma. It was like night 3 of Phantasma, and it was just kind of like this whimsical vibe. And I have to say, I really liked it. I really think that this was like the best of both of those books, and elevated to an adult audience, and just really fun overall. So I would definitely recommend it. Just know that like the writing wasn't really that spectacular, if we're being honest. It was just a very quick, fast-paced book. There wasn't quite as much world building as I would have wanted. Like a lot of this magical, mystical stuff was kind of left unanswered. And the ending to the book itself felt very, very rushed in a lot of ways. Just like there was this big reveal at the end, this resolution to what's been going on, and then it was just very, very quick after that everything wrapped up. And because of this, it's kind of like a standalone. So there is going to be another book in the series, but it's following our main character's sister. So it's like this is wrapping up the arc of Ophelia and everything that has happened with her. So because of that, it was kind of just like a very quick wrap up, you know, didn't end on anything like any kind of twist, didn't end on anything that was like, you know, making you need to go to the next book. So just in that ways, it felt kind of rushed. The ending was just like a little disappointing that way. I'm going to give it 5 stars, or not 5. I'm going to give it 4 stars though, because I did thoroughly enjoy it. I just thought it was a really, really fun time. And it's one of those that I just kind of let the vibes sweep me away and not really think about anything else. Then I decided like, you know, why not? Let's like really get into the spooky mood and read a witchy book. Again, like check off one of the prompts, because one of them is like read a book with witches. And I decided to pick up Spookily Yours. This one was really making its rounds last year when it came out, because like honestly, just the cover, it's like really witchy. It's very Halloween-y, perfect for this time of year. But the one thing that really put me off this is because the romance is a woman adopts a cat, but the cat is somebody, a man trapped in cat form. And I'm not gonna lie, like that terrified me. I was like, oh my God, how long is he gonna be a cat in this book? Like at what point do feelings get involved? And I am very, very happy to report that it was like not even a quarter way through that he turned into a man. And that's when the romance started. But I really thought we were going into this book and like the primary focus would be turning him into a man, and like that the entire romance would kind of take place while he was a cat. I was very scared of that. But yeah, happy to report it's not the case. My issue with this one though, it really felt like there was no plot whatsoever. And in some ways, I feel like the author was really going for a cozy romance, but you kind of need some kind of plot. I feel like, you know, this one was just very much they're living together. So that issue of him becoming a person again was solved very quickly. And then the rest of the story was just like them living together and kind of falling for each other. There was like very, very vague mentions of this like mission he's on. And I think that was supposed to like add tension into the book, but I honestly thought it was like such a minor part and didn't add anything to the book. So it's like there is this plot with her sister and his brother, like this thing going on. And it just didn't add enough to the book because it just really, really felt like, you know, there was nothing interesting happening once he turned into a person again. There just wasn't any plot guiding us forward. There wasn't anything that like really made me interested. And the romance itself just had like nothing to it. It was very much like, I don't know, I would say insta love. Or insta attraction at least. There wasn't enough there to make me actually care about the romance. This one is gonna be a 2-star. Like I considered at one point giving it a 3, but honestly I was so bored throughout like pretty much this entire book. The saving grace for it was that it was like only 230 pages, so I could blow through it, but I was not into it by any means. So yeah, that one's 2 stars and fulfills like the witch in the title prompt, or witch main character prompt. So I'm feeling a little disappointed just in the sense that like, I read 4 books for this. 2 of them were 2 stars, 2 of them were 4 stars. So I guess like we have an average of 3 here, but like, you know, that was not very great. Not a very great reading time for me. Like I think in the last like 3 months I've rated 2 books 2 stars, and now here we go, I have 2 again for this month. Yeah, so I don't feel great about that, and yeah, I'm very disappointed because I always want to come out of a book like with the best possible rating, you know. But we're gonna be wrapping this up here. I hope you guys enjoyed watching this with me. I really wish that I could have devoted more time to this and really like done more of the prompts, more of the activities. There was Instagram prompts too. Like I really wish that I could have devoted more time and mental energy to it, but I'm glad that we still managed to do a little vlog. So if you haven't already, I would love if you would consider subscribing, and yeah, thank you for watching today. Bye.